Almost 2 years ago, I took a group from this parish in St. Dominic to Poland on a pilgrimage. I'm going to trip over these again. And one of the spots we went to in Poland was the site in the Shrine of Divine Mercy, where St. Faustina, who had received visions of Jesus and messages from Jesus and wrote them in her diary, it's where she's buried, and it's this beautiful shrine. When we got there, one of the sisters of her order gave a little talk to the group on the history of Divine Mercy and everything. And at the end of the talk, she had a bowl, kind of like a fish bowl, with folded up slips of paper, like this. Some are white and some are this color. The white ones had messages, or had phrases that Faustina had written in her diary. This color has phrases from the diary of what Jesus said to her. The prayer of that sister was that the Holy Spirit would guide whatever one we randomly took, and it would be the message that each of us personally needed to hear. This one is mine. Do not lose heart, and by this is the words of Jesus. Do not lose heart in coming for pardon, for I am always ready to forgive you. As often as you beg for it, you glorify my mercy. I'll read it one more time. Do not lose heart in coming for pardon, for I am always ready to forgive you. As often as you beg for it, you glorify my mercy. You know, if someone from ancient times were to walk into this church and see that, they'd scream bloody murder. They'd be utterly freaked out beyond anything we could imagine. How could we glorify and raise up something that is so awful? The word excruciating, ex crucio, means from the cross. We as Christians, as the popular hymn states, lift high the cross. Why? Because we lift up not hatred, but love. Not selfishness, but self-giving. Not death, but life. Not condemnation, but forgiveness. From that cross, Jesus says, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. He looks to the people who were literally killing him and understood their lack of understanding and understood where their heart was. Not that he was okay with it, but he understood it. As I mentioned before, sometimes we can diminish Jesus' humanity because of his divinity. When we see the forgiveness that comes from the cross, we think, well, yeah, we're only human. There's no way we can do that. Jesus was divine as well. He was fully human. Don't let his divinity discount his humanity. And I admit, as I say that we are called to that level of forgiveness, I feel that impossibility in my own heart. I admit that. But the more we conform our heart to that of Christ, the more it becomes possible. Jesus, we also know in his passion, looks to the repentant thief and says, today you will be with me in paradise. Here, this thief, in the 11th hour of his life, receiving punishment for his crimes, turns to the Lord, asking to be remembered and to have mercy. And Jesus, in the midst of everything that he's going through, his agony, his suffering, is able to offer that forgiveness. Forgiveness is a hard thing, isn't it? Rarely is it easy. Why is that? Because sometimes we pretend that we're not hurt. Maybe there's an embarrassment or a pridefulness that we don't want to admit that we're hurt. Maybe we feel that if we forgive, well, then they win. We condone their behavior. We're saying that that's okay. That doesn't sit right with us. It means something wrong happened to us if we forgive. Jesus didn't like what the soldiers were doing. He didn't condone their actions. Jesus didn't say to the criminal that, this is okay. What you did was okay. Here's what forgiveness is. It's an act of the will. It's a movement of the Holy Spirit. And as St. Augustine taught, he said that forgiveness simply involves the willingness to surrender one's natural right to revenge. Isn't that a great definition? Forgiveness simply involves the willingness to surrender one's natural right to revenge. And isn't that what we see from the cross? For all the people that mocked Jesus, spat upon him, scourged him, crucified him, the criminal next to him, it wasn't that he condoned anything. He gave up his natural right for revenge. Jesus, being the all-powerful Son of God, he could have cursed all those people, but he chose to forgive. The reality is for us, my friends, we cannot give what we don't have. So we would do well to kick off this week called Holy by seeking forgiveness and giving forgiveness. If we don't openly receive the mercy that flows from the cross and from Jesus' pierced side, we're going to have a hard time forgiving others. So my invitation to us, to you and me both, is to identify where we need to be forgiven and who we need to forgive, whether it's someone else or even ourselves. Don't let a lack of forgiveness at all hinder the grace and the joy and the beauty and the mercy of these holiest days of the year. Let's not be afraid to beg for the mercy that was told to St. Faustina, which flows from the cross, which flows from the pierced side of Jesus, so that we together might glorify Jesus' mercy.